These are the Kooks 1 3/4 inch off-road long tube headers. These are going to be a good option for someone looking for a natural finish stainless steel long tube that ditches the factory cats, and for someone that doesn't mind paying for the Kooks quality. We'll talk about this later, but I can tell you right now that long tube headers make for a difficult install, so I'm going to call this one a 3 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter. You can plan on spending a day in the garage getting these installed. Long tube headers are going to offer both performance and sound gains, but the end result of your headers will depend on the rest of your setup. The runners on these particular headers are 1 3/4 inch, which is slightly different than the 1 7/8 inch offering that Kooks offers. Traditionally, you see forced induction cars running the larger runner and NA cars running the 1 3/4 runner, but I wouldn't really say that that's a hard and fast rule, especially with the new Coyotes. So you don't have to worry too much about the diameter here. You just have to keep in mind your current mods and the goals that you have for your car when you're looking around, as well as what going with this size runner will do to your power band with the mods that you have. If you still have some bolt-ons and your NA, you might want to stick with the smaller runners of the 1 3/4. Or maybe you want the larger diameter because you don't mind seeing a hit on your low-end torque, because once you spin the Coyote motor up, the larger diameter runner is going to help keep things moving. And in that case, you can expect to see top-end gains. This is all going to come down to personal preference and your plan for your car. Getting into the specifics here, these are a 304 stainless steel header that has a natural or a raw finish, which is going to be different than a chrome or ceramic coated header. It obviously doesn't have the polished appearance that a chrome header would have, and while these do not have the ceramic coating either, they are made from that 304 stainless steel tubing, so you don't have to worry about corrosion. Not to mention, you get to see the beautiful welds here since these are a raw finish. And this is mandrel bent tubing, which is going to help with smoother airflow. So your primary tubes then merge down to a 3-inch collector with a scavenging spike. Kooks always uses scavenging spikes just to make sure that the headers are going to flow perfectly. And Kooks uses a ball and socket design here for a tight and leak-free fit. Then you have your connection pipes here. These parts are 3-inch and they are not catted. So the connection pipes start at 3-inch, but then you can see that they step down right here. These are going to step down to 2.5 inches, so you can run a 2.5 inch cat back or mid pipe. So just keep the 2.5 inch requirement in mind when you pick out your cat back or at least your mid pipe. But Kooks does also include a 3-inch adapter for you if you wanted to run 3-inch all the way through. If we move on to price, as we all pretty much know, or you'd know if you've been shopping for long tubes, that they're pretty much going to be a solid investment. They're pricey and they're difficult to install. The option from Kooks, since they are a higher quality item that's more at the top of the food chain, are going to be a little bit more expensive. The 1 3/4 option that we have here are going to be slightly less expensive than the larger diameter primary option, which isn't unusual. You do tend to see that larger runner headers cost more than smaller runner headers, but not usually by very much at all. You're looking at spending a touch over $1,500 for this set right here. But you do have to keep in mind all the benefits and power that you're going to be getting from this setup. And to put things in perspective, it's not just these headers that are going to be expensive. You're going to be looking at headers costing over $1,000 anyways, no matter what brand you go with. As for the install on this one, long tubes are always going to be a difficult install. I don't say this often, but if you don't have a helping hand or you don't have much experience, it might be better to just take the car to a shop for the install. If you do tackle this yourself, it's going to be a full 3 out of 3 wrenches on the scale and a day in the garage. You can do this with a jack and jack stands, but a lift would make it easier for sure. You're going to need your toolbox for this one with an assortment of different sockets, wrenches, and extensions. You're looking at things like disconnecting the steering shaft, dropping the starter, and removing a motor mount. A lot of this install obviously requires working in some pretty tight areas, so while everything is straightforward, getting access and maneuverability in these areas is actually tricky. And because of that, you need to pull a motor mount on one side, so you can raise the motor slightly with the jack to give you some more room. And having a helping hand in this case is really going to benefit you. But a day of wrestling and some pretty pennies spent is totally worth it in my opinion. So wrapping things up with the Kooks long tube headers, these are 304 stainless steel off-road headers that have 1 3/4 inch runners. As usual, you can check them out more online for yourself right here at AmericanMuscle.com.